Canto 4. Summary. Having talked with Manfred for longer than he realized, Dante follows Virgil up a steep embankment through a small opening to a higher ledge where they pause to rest. Meanwhile, Virgil gives some preliminary descriptions of the mountain. It is the kind of place where the higher one goes, the easier it is to climb, even if the sides grow steeper. A fuller explanation will have to wait, however. As they continue on, they will come to a group of souls, some sitting and some lying down against the mountain. Dante recognizes another old friend, Belacqua, who explains that he must wait here below the same number of years as he had lived, because he had put off repentance through negligence. They leave him sitting there and continue to make their way up the mountainside. It is now noon on Easter Sunday. Canto 4. The Negligent. When some faculty of ours is enthralled either by pleasure or indeed by pain, and the soul concentrates on it alone, it seems to hear no other powers more. This is against that error that believes one soul wakes in us more than another. And therefore, when one hears or sees something that forcefully keeps the soul turned to it, time presses on and man does not notice. For there is one power that senses time, and another that enthralls the whole soul, as if it were bound, while the first is free. Of this I had a true experience, hearing and wondering at that spirit. For the sun had climbed full 50 degrees, and I did not notice it when we came where those souls were crying out to us as one, "Here is the place you inquired after." When the grape darkens, the man of the farm, with a pitchfork full of blackthorn bushes, many times fills a larger opening than the corridor through which my leader and I clambered up on our own, as the crowd had separated themselves from us. One climbs to San Leo, drops to Noli, one mounts Bismantova and Kakume with one's own feet. But here man must needs fly. I mean with the swift wings and the feathers of great desire, behind that conductor who was giving me hope and being my light. We were climbing up within the cleft rock, and the face on all sides pressed in on us. The ground beneath required both hands and feet. After we had achieved the upper edge of that high bank on the exposed hillside, I said, "My master, what way will we take?" And he to me, "Let not your step falter. Keep climbing behind me, up that mountain, until some wise escort appears to us." The peak was so high it conquered my sight, and the slope was much more precipitous than a line from mid-quadrant to center. I was exhausted when I started up. "Oh, sweet father, turn back and consider how I am left alone if you don't rest." "My son," he said, "pull yourself up to there," showing me a ledge a little above, which on that side circles the whole mountain. His words so motivated me that I forced myself on, crawling alongside him, till the circling ledge was under my feet. There we sat ourselves down, turned to the east, whence we had climbed up, for it is normal for one to benefit from looking back. I first turned my eyes to the shores below. Then I raised them to the sun and marveled that it was striking us from the left side. Full well the poet perceived that I stayed, dumbfounded at the chariot of light as it passed between Aquilo and us. Whence he to me, "If Castor and Pollux were in the company of that mirror that conducts its light upward and downward, you would see the reddening zodiac wheel around even closer to the bears, if it did not abandon the old path. If you want to be able to conceive how that can be, inwardly imagine Zion and this mountain standing on land such that both have one single horizon, but different hemispheres, wherefore the road Phaethon sadly knew not how to drive, you will see, must pass this mount on one side while it goes past that mount on the other, if your intellect pays clear attention." "Truly, master," I said, "never before saw I so clearly as I now discern, there where my understanding seems lacking, that the mid-wheel of heavenly motion, which another art has named equator, and always stays between sun and winter, does depart from here as much toward the north, for the reason you give, as the Hebrews had seen it go down toward the hot country. But if it please you, I would gladly know how far we have to go, for the hillside rises beyond where my own eyes can reach. And he to me, this mountain is such that to start below is always arduous. The further one climbs, the less it gives pain. Therefore, when it seems to you so pleasant that to climb up above will be for you as easy as drifting downstream by boat, then you will be at the end of this path. Wait until that place to rest your fatigue. I will say no more. I know this for truth. And then, after he had given this speech, a voice not far away rang out, Perhaps you will have need before then to sit down. Each one of us turned himself to that sound, and we saw on our left a great boulder which neither of us had noticed before. We drew ourselves close, and there were people that were staying in the shade behind the stone, as one lays himself down through negligence. And one of them, who was looking tired, was sitting down and embracing his knees, holding his face lower down between them. "Oh, my sweet lord," I said, "pay attention to this one that shows himself negligent more than if laziness were his sister." Then he turned to us and focused his mind, moving just his face up along his thigh, and said, "Now you go up, who are so fit." I knew then who he was, and that anguish that still quickened my breathing a little did not impede me from going to him. When I joined him, he barely raised his head, saying, "Have you finally seen how the sun drives his chariot on the left shoulder?" His lazy gesture and his shortened words made my lips laugh a little. Then I said, "Belacqua, I have no grief for you now. But tell me, why do you sit in this place? Are you waiting for someone to guide you? Or have your usual ways reclaimed you?" And he, "Oh, brother, what would climbing gain? For the angel of God who guards the door would not let me go into the torments. First the heaven must wheel round me as much outside that gate as they did in my life, for I delayed till the end my good sighs. If I am not assisted first by prayers that rise up from a heart that lives in grace, what strength have those whom heaven does not hear?" And already the poet was climbing in front, saying, "Come now, see the sun touches the meridian, and already night plants her foot from Ganges to Morocco.